Hello everyone, we hope you all are doing great. Welcome to the second part of this particular financial modeling series in which we are going to build the financial model of the Bharti Airtel Limited from the very scratch. So basically let me also brief you about the two other financial modeling series which we are running simultaneously with this financial modeling series. So basically in series 2 we are teaching you how to build a financial model using a case study. In the third financial modeling series, we are teaching you to perform the project finance modeling, which is also considered as one of the most advanced financial modeling out there. So I also request you to watch that particular financial modeling series to brush up your financial modeling skills. And I will also include the link for those financial modeling series in the description box. So moving forward, let me start with this particular video. So basically in the previous video, we discussed about the Bharti Airtel Limited, its various business segments, and we also discussed about the roadmap for this particular financial modeling, like what we will do in part 1, what we will do in part 2, part 3, and till part 7. So if you haven't watched that particular video till now, I would like to request you to watch that video because you will have a better idea like how we are going to proceed, what we are going to do, what approach we are going to follow, because we are also giving you certain exercises after every video so that it is also beneficial for you to revise the concepts which we are teaching in the class. Okay, so basically in this video we have planned the revenue forecasting for the coming 5 years. So how we are going to forecast the revenue? So like in the previous video we explained that there are major 5 to 6 business segments of Bharti Airtel Limited. Okay, the first one is basically the mobile services. Okay, basically what we are going to do here is we are going to divide the total revenue of Bharti Airtel Limited in its all major segments, whether it is country wise or whether it is business segment wise. But like what other institutes do is they basically take the total revenue and they forecast the future values, but that is totally wrong because the revenue for a company is coming from multiple sources. So we have to divide the total revenue in all the major segments. So the first one is mobile services, let's suppose. So let's take second one as digital services, and let's take home services. Home services are there, and there is a tower infrastructure. I have explained about each and every revenue segment in the previous video. I would like to request you to watch that particular video one time. After that, mobile services, digital services, home services, tower services, and there are one more segment. Okay, so basically these are the services which Airtel provide in India. Revenue from India. Okay. After that, we have certain other countries as well. That is revenue from Africa, and we have revenue from South Asia. And there are certain other countries as well like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, but we will classify that countries under the section known as others because the revenue coming from that particular countries are very small and it's not beneficial to for divide them in further. After that, let's start understanding what is key performance indicators. So let's suppose if we have mobile services, okay. So what we can do is, let's suppose the revenue from mobile service is 100. So how the company is arriving at this particular value known as 100? How? I repeat, how the company is calculating this value 100? What are those two key performance indicators the company is using to arrive at this value which is known as 100? The first one is customer base or the number of subscribers. The first one is customer base and the number of subscribers. The second one is average revenue per customer or subscriber, whatever you want to say. Okay, so let's suppose if the company has a customer base of 20, okay, and the average revenue per person is 5. So what is the total revenue? What is the total revenue? The total revenue is that is equals to 20 multiplied by 5. Press enter. So the total revenue is 100. So if we have these two values, that is customer base and average revenue per customer, can't we calculate the total revenue? And let's suppose if we are provided with the, if we have the data related to total revenue, that is 100, and we have one more thing, that is customer base, that is 20. So if we have these two values, can't we calculate average revenue per customer? Can't we calculate average revenue per customer? Isn't that easy? That is equals to 100 divided by 20, and if we press enter, the average revenue per customer will come out to be 5 whatever it is. So in the similar way, we can also calculate the customer base. Like in short, I would say if we have any two values, we can calculate the third thing very easily. It is not going to be difficult for us. So like in the previous video, I have shown you the balance sheet of the company or the profit and loss statement as well. So when I showed the profit and loss statement, I majorly focused on the revenue from operations, and I also showed you the division of revenue from operations. I also showed you the division of revenue from operations. So let's move to the financial statements for 2022. Okay, I have already opened you for this. So this is basically the division of revenue from operations, and you can easily see the revenue is basically divided into mobile services, Airtel business, home services, digital TV services, and tower infrastructure services. And in India, these five services are available, as you can clearly see. But in South Asia, only mobile services are there, and in Africa, the similar case is present, that is only the mobile services are there. And apart from this, there is a one more column known as others, which basically signifies Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and all. So these are the major geographical markets, and these are the major business segments of Bharti Airtel Limited. So what we have to do, the thing we have to do is, let me open the income statement. This is a total revenue. This is a total revenue. So basically, we have to divide this total revenue in this all major segments, and all this data is available in the balance sheet, the financial statements of the company. Okay, so this is the exercise for today. So let's delete all this particular data and start with our revenue assumptions. So as I just explained, what I explained is if we have total revenue and if we have customer base, we can easily calculate average revenue per consumer. So what we have is, we have the total revenue from all the major business segments. We have one thing with us, and if we are able to find the second thing, that is customer base or the average revenue per consumer, we can easily calculate the third thing. And if we are able to calculate the third thing, we can easily forecast the revenue for the upcoming 5 years. So basically, let's search for the customer base. Control plus F, CUSTOMERBASE, and let's click on this. First of all, let's rotate this. Yeah. So this is our customer base of Airtel. Like the Airtel has customer base of 326.04 million in mobile services in India. Similarly, in home services, the Airtel has a customer base of 4.48. Digital services is 17.56, and in Africa it is 128.43. So this is the customer base of Airtel. Okay, and now we have two things. The first one is the revenue, and the second thing is customer base. And if we have these two things, we can easily calculate average revenue per consumer. And if we can calculate average revenue per consumer, we can forecast customer base and we can forecast average revenue per consumer for the upcoming 5 years. And using these two factors, we can calculate the total revenue. I know this line is a little bit difficult to digest, but don't worry, we are going to do it practically in front of you, so you don't have to worry about anything. Okay, so this is the data which we have. So in the similar way, you can find the data for the previous years as well. This is for the fiscal year 2022. That is basically as on 31st March 2022. Okay. So in the similar way, you can find the data for the previous years as well using the financial statements. Okay. Moving forward, like we have already taken the data for the previous years, and we will show you how to input data for the fiscal year 2022. And if you want, you can perform this previous year exercise on your end only, because we don't want to waste time in inputting data and all. So moving forward, let's start inputting data for fiscal year 2022. Okay. So the customer base for mobile services is 326.04. That is 326.04. And the customer base for home services is 4.48. Okay. And customer base for digital services is what was that? It 17.56. After that, we have revenue from Airtel business, but we don't have customer base for this particular thing. So we are going to forecast this using the total revenue only. After this, we have tower infrastructure, and the company has basically discontinued this particular operations in fiscal year 2022. So it is basically zero. After this, we have total revenue from Africa, and the customer base from Africa is 128.43. 128.43. Press enter. And total revenue from South Asia, and the customer base for 2022 it is not shown here. So basically we have other source also where we can find this particular customer base. So if you search company profile Bharti Airtel Limited, so you will be able to find a fact sheet. And under this, you will see customer base. You will see customer base. As you can see, the values are pretty much similar. So in this, you can find in South Asia, the subscribers or the customers are 2.9 million. And you can also see the date, that is as on 31st March 2022. So let's write here, that is 2.9. Okay, so this is the customer base for South Asia. This is the customer base for Africa, mobile services, home services, digital services, and all. Now let's type in the revenue. Okay, now let's type in the revenue. Move to the financial statements and search revenue from operations. So here we go. This is our notes to revenue from operations. Let's rotate this. And as you can see, the revenue for mobile services in India in fiscal year 2022, it is 614036. 614036, and all these values are in rupees million. Okay, as you can see here as well, millions of Indian rupees. Moving forward, the Airtel business in India has a revenue of 101562. 101562. So let's write here 101562. Press enter. Moving forward, the next thing is home services. The revenue from home services is 30348. 30348. Press enter. After this, we have digital services. The revenue from digital services is 31456. 31456. Press enter. After this, we have the tower infrastructure. That is basically zero because the company has discontinued this particular thing. Okay, moving forward, the next thing we have is total revenue from Africa. That is 345611, and it has only one operations in Africa, that is mobile services. Moving forward to South Asia, that is 3716. 3716. And the next thing is others. and others is basically 38740. 38740. So in the similar way, you can find data for the previous years, fiscal year 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, and if you want, you can perform this exercise on your at your own end, and we will also include this particular sheet in the description box as well. Moving forward, now let's start building the revenue assumptions for the coming 5 years using this particular data. So let's start doing the revenue assumptions. So the guys, we have to follow certain formatting rules before starting working on any particular Excel sheet. The first thing we need to do is we need to remove these grid lines. So what is the shortcut to remove the grid lines? It is Alt W V G. The second thing we have to do is just reduce the size of the first row, that is the A, and started working from the B2 or B3, whatever you want. After this, let me tell you one more thing, that is basically we are going to build this model considering the three scenarios. The first one is the optimistic case. The first case is optimistic. The case 2 is, or the second scenario is the base case. The case 3 is pessimistic. Sorry, pessimistic. So what do we mean by this? Let me explain you this using a simple example. So let's in fiscal year 18, fiscal year 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay. In fiscal year 18, let's take the value as 20, then 22, then 25, then 26. Let's take then 30. Okay. So what is these cases? So basically the case 1 is above the historical average. Case 2 is equal to the historical average. Case 3 is less than the historical average. So how we can calculate the historical average? The first thing we need to do is we need to find the growth rate of these particular values, that is 20, 22, 25, 26 and 30. How we can calculate the growth rate? That is equals to current year value divided by the previous year value minus 1. Press enter, and that is coming out to be, let's change this into percentage, 10%, and let's drag this formula till fiscal year 22. Okay, so these are the growth rates for the historical years. And first of all, let's start with the second case, that is the base case, which basically means equals to the historical average. So what is the formula for average? That is equals to AVE RAGE. Start the bracket, select all these four values, close the bracket, press enter. The historical average is coming out to be 11%. Now let's copy this value for the next 5 years. And let's give two decimal places, that is 10.76. Got it? Now let's move forward to the case 1, that is optimistic, which is also known as greater than or more than the historical average. If our historical average is 10.76, so we can basically assume our optimistic case to be, let's take it 13.76, which is basically 3% more than the historical average. And this is basically just our assumption which we are taking. This assumption can vary from person to person. Okay, these are just assumptions I am taking. Okay, if this is 13.76, let's copy this till the last. Okay, and what do we mean by pessimistic case? Pessimistic case basically means less than the historical average. And if our historical average is coming out to be 10.76, our pessimistic case can revolve around somewhere 7.76%. Okay, 7.76%. And this also differs from person to person and his point of view. This is just I am taking, and you can even take as per your thinking or logical reasoning. So this is basically the three cases which we are going to use in building our model, and this model is going to be really dynamic. Okay, moving forward, let's start building our revenue assumptions. The first thing we need to do is we need to make one column for particulars. Okay. The next thing we need to do is we need to make one column for units. After this, there is fiscal year 2018, sorry, previous 5 years, fiscal year 2019, and let's drag this till 27, I guess. Yeah. So these 5 years are the historical. These 5 years are the historical. So let's write historical here. HISTORICAL. Okay. And let's merge this by pressing Alt H M C. Great. And these 5 values are projected. Okay. So let's write projected here and merge this as well. Alt H M C. Okay. Now let's perform the formatting part to make it little bit nice. Select this. Okay. Press Alt H to change the background color. Let's take it dark blue. And it also depends from person to person. If you want to take another color, you can, but it should look nice and decent. Okay. Now let's make the text bold by pressing Ctrl plus B, because now you can see the text is black, but and it's not clearly visible due to the background that is dark blue. Okay, so now let's change the text color font or the font color to white for better visibility by pressing Alt H F C. Now as you can see, the visibility is much better. Okay, moving forward, the first column we need to make is total revenue from operations. Got it? And after this, we need to make one column for growth rate. Got it? After this, the first revenue stream we have is total revenue from India. And the total revenue from India is divided into 4 to 5 major segments. Okay. Total revenue from India. After this, we need to take growth rate once again. So after this, we need to start dividing the total revenue from India into major business segments. The first major business segment is revenue from mobile services. Okay. After this, we need to take growth rate for this as well. And now, if you see, like in the input sheet, we have divided the revenue from mobile services using the customer base. Okay, so let's divide this revenue from mobile services. The first thing we need to take is the customer base. After this, we need to take the growth rate once again. Okay, and after this, we have to type in case 1, case 2, case 3. Okay, and if we have two things, the first one is revenue from mobile services and the second one is customer base, we can easily calculate average revenue per consumer. I have explained you this concept just 10 to 15 minutes back. Okay, average revenue per consumer or the subscriber, whatever you want to say. And let's copy this, Control plus C and Control plus V. The similar thing we have to do here. So let's start forecasting revenue from mobile services. Okay, basically what we can do is we can link the revenue from mobile services using the input sheet. Control plus C, drag it till fiscal year 2022, press Control plus V. So this is the revenue from mobile services. Okay, and we have customer base as well. That is equals to, for 2018, press Control plus C, drag it till fiscal year 2022. Got it? Now, if we have revenue from mobile services, if we have customer base, we can easily calculate average revenue per consumer, which is nothing but we need to take revenue from mobile services and we need to divide this mobile services from the customer base, and our average revenue will come out to be 1450.674. Okay, and now let's drag this formula, Control plus C, and drag it till fiscal year 2022 by pressing Control plus V. And as you can see, the formula is getting copied automatically. Got it? So in this case, in this way, we can calculate average revenue per consumer. Moving forward, now what we have to do, first of all, let's calculate the growth rates for customer base and the average revenue per consumer. And the formula for the growth rate is current year value divided by the previous year value minus 1. And let's drag this till last year, that is fiscal year 2022, and change this into percentage by pressing Alt HP. Alt HP. And let's take the two decimal places. Okay. In the similar way, we can calculate the growth rate for average revenue per consumer. Just simply copy this and paste here. Okay, and as you can see, the formula is copied automatically. Alt HP. Okay, so this is the growth rate. Okay, and let's make the growth rate to be italic. So we will make it later. Okay, let's make it later. And now we have three cases. Okay, now let's start building these three cases. And just to make it differentiate, change this color and press Alt H BA to give it borders. And now let's copy this same thing, press Ctrl plus C, press here, that is Ctrl plus V. Okay, now the base case, that is case 2, it is known as the base case, which basically means equals to the historical average. So now calculate the historical average. Select these four values, close the bracket, press enter. The historical average for the customer base is coming out to be 2.01. So let's copy this till fiscal year 2027. Press enter. Change this to percentage and give two decimal places. And if we are a little optimistic, let's take our optimistic case to be 3.01%. Okay, let's take optimistic case to be 3.01%. Alt H P, and let's give two decimal places. And let's take pessimistic case to be 1.01%. So basically this is the growth rate which customer base will follow. Let's change this into percentage only. Okay. Now let's perform the same exercise for average revenue per consumer as well. That is equals to average, start the bracket, select these four values, press enter. The average revenue per consumer is coming out to be 6.94. So let's copy this till fiscal year 27 and let's change this into percentage. And let's take optimistic case to be 8.94%. Okay, let's change this into percentage as well. And let's take pessimistic case to be 4.94%. And let's copy this till fiscal year 2027. So we are done with this as well. Now what we have to do? We have to apply the choose function. So how we can apply that? First of all, let's write here scenarios, because we are using three scenarios. The first one is case 1, case 2, case 3. And now we have to use the data validation function, that is Alt A VV, to create a list. If you click on this, there is an option list, and we have three cases, 1, 2, 3. Click on OK. And now as you can see, there is a list out there. Okay, now we have to apply the choose function here. So what is basically the choose function? It is equals to choose, start the bracket. This is our index number. Make sure this you are selecting this as your index number, comma. The second thing we need to do is we need to select the first value. This pessimistic case is our first value, base case is our second value, sorry, the optimistic case is our first value, the base case is the second value, and the pessimistic case is the third value. After selecting this, close the bracket, press enter. After selecting this, close the bracket, press enter. And if you want to copy this formula test till fiscal year 27, you have to fix this index value, and we can fix the referencing by basically adding the dollar sign in front of the rows and columns. Control plus C, Alt H V S F to copy the formula. Change this to, yeah. And now just see. If we change this scenario from 2 to 1, these values will automatically change to 3.01. And if we change this scenario to 3, these values will automatically change to 1.01. So basically, using this particular function, we are going to make this model dynamic. Got it? Moving forward, let's perform the same function for average revenue per consumer as well. Let's select this whole row. Take your cursor here and press Alt H VSF. Press enter. And now you can see the function is automatically applied here as well. And let's change this to percentage and give 2 decimal values. Okay. So in this way, we can calculate the growth rate for the coming 5 years as well. Okay. And now if we want to calculate the values for the coming 5 years, we can use this particular growth rate. And the formula which we are going to apply is equals to previous year value. Okay. Multiply, start the bracket, 1 plus the growth rate. Close the bracket. Press and Control plus C, Alt H V S F. Okay. So this is our customer base for the forecasted years. Got it? Now let's apply the same formula here as well. What we can do is we can simply copy this, Control plus C, and press Alt H VSF here. Press enter. And now you can see we have average revenue per consumer for the forecasted years as well. Got it? Now if we have customer base for the forecasted year or the projected year, and if we have the average revenue per consumer for the projected year, can't we calculate revenue from mobile services? So how we can do this? That is equals to customer base divided by the multiplied by the average revenue per consumer. Press enter. And now copy this formula till fiscal year 2027. Now copy this formula till fiscal year 2027. So basically using this scenarios, we can calculate the revenue from mobile services for the 3 scenarios. Basically that is optimistic, base, and the pessimistic case. Okay, and this is the right method to calculate the revenue this is the right method to project the revenue for the upcoming years, because we have divided the revenue in all the possible key performing indicators, that is the customer base and the average revenue per consumer. Isn't that obvious? If our customer base and average revenue per consumer is increasing, that means our revenue for mobile services will also increase. That is why there is a need to have a holistic view of the complete financial model. So this is the right way of doing financial modeling, which is taught by none but nobody is teaching this for free, and I don't even think nobody is teaching this paid also, to be very honest. There are many free so-called financial modeling series you will find on the YouTube, but they are not teaching you like this how to build the financial models. So this is the typical way we can use to build a financial model. So like let's change the growth rate to italic, okay, just to make it differentiate, and let's give a right indent to growth rate, and just copy this, Control plus C, If you want to give a same formatting to anything, what you can do is Alt H VST, Alt H VST, press enter, and now you can see this also has same formatting. Okay, now keep the same formatting for the growth rate here as well. Alt H VST, revenue from mobile services, same for revenue from India, and same for total revenue from operations. Got it? Now let's calculate the growth rate from mobile services as well. That is current year value, previous year value minus 1. Copy this till fiscal year 27. Okay, copy this. And what we can do is right now we are not calculating total revenue from India and total revenue from operations because we have to further divide the revenue in 3 to 4 major business segments. Okay, so let's do one more thing to make it look pretty. Let's change the background color to light gray. Okay, Control plus C, Alt HST, HST. Let's copy this. Control plus C, Alt HVST. And this place is bit empty. So let's give a light blue color to this as well. Okay. Light blue color to this as well. Okay. So in this way, we can calculate the revenue from mobile services for the forecasted year. Now let's perform the same exercise for revenue from home services, revenue from digital services, and revenue from Airtel businesses as well. Okay. So we have to do nothing. Just copy this. Okay. And paste it here. Okay. We just have to link this from here. Alt H VSF. Okay, and let's change this revenue from mobile services to revenue from home services. Okay, revenue from home services. Moving forward, let's change the customer base as well. The customer base is this. Copy this till 2022. Okay, and average revenue per consumer is this. Got it? Now let's delete this. Okay, delete these values and calculate it for the revenue from home services. That is equals to AVERAGE. Same exercise we are going to follow. Okay, select these 4 values and it is coming out to be 20.64%. So let's take this and copy this till the last year, that is fiscal year 27. Okay, and now let's take pessimistic case to be, sorry, the optimistic case to be 23%, 23.64%, and let's copy this till the last year, and let's take the pessimistic case to be 16.64 only, and copy this till the last year. Okay, and if we calculate the average for the average revenue per consumer, it is coming out to be negative, and it is I think this is due to, I would say, the COVID and all. So let's take this to be, instead of minus 12%, let's take it, what we can do, let's take it 2%. Okay, Alt H VSB, and let's take optimistic case to be 3%. Let's copy this till fiscal year 27, and let's take pessimistic case to be 1%. Okay, and as you can see, we have forecasted the revenue from home services as well. Got it? Moving forward, let's perform the same exercise for digital services. Let's copy this particular thing and paste it here. Okay, So let's start linking the revenue from home services, sorry, the digital services is this. Let's copy this till fiscal year 27. Okay, and let's change this from digital services, sorry, home services to digital services, and let's change this to 3, press enter. And now let's link the customer base, that is 14.2 million, alt as VSF. Okay, and let's now the revenue from consumers is already calculated, that is customer base, sorry, the revenue from digital services divided by the customer base. Now let's delete these particular values because this is for the home services which we have previously calculated. So what we have to do is just use the average formula and calculate the average for customer base, growth in customer base, which is coming out to be 5.52%. Let's copy this till the last year, and let's take this to be 7.52. Let's take optimistic case to be 7.52 and pessimistic case to be 3.52, and let's copy these formulas till fiscal year 27. Got it? Moving forward to the average revenue per consumer, AVE, RAGE, start the bracket, select the previous year values, close the bracket. Okay, it is coming out to be 7.81%, which is negative, and it's not practically possible that the average revenue will decrease for the upcoming years. So let's do one thing. Let's take it a very minimal number, which we have previously taken, that is 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Now, as you can see, we have forecasted the revenue from digital services for the upcoming 5 years as well. Okay, got it? Moving forward to the next business segment, that is the Airtel business. And Airtel business, I guess, does not have any the customer base and all. So we can simply do this. Now let's see this as well. Fourth, revenue from Airtel business. Okay. Let's copy this simply and paste it here. First of all, let's link the revenue from Airtel business, which is present in the input sheet. Copy this till fiscal year 27. Okay, this is the growth rate we have. Now let's delete this. Okay, and calculate the average, and the average is coming out to be 5.96%. And let's take the optimistic case to be 7.96% only, and let's take it 3.96% only, and let's copy these values till fiscal year 27. Okay, let's apply the same formula here as well. Let's copy this from here and paste it here. Alt H VSF, press enter. Okay, so this is the revenue from Airtel business for the upcoming 5 years. So we have forecasted this as well. Okay, and guys, if you have any doubts, we have I will mention my personal contact number in the description box. Please feel free to contact me anytime and I will clear all your doubts, because this thing is little bit complicated and no other institute is doing this. Like, because we are forecasting the revenue in very detail and using logical assumptions, not just the total revenue. We are not taking the total revenue and forecasting it on the growth year. Just we are basically dividing the total revenue in all the major business segments, and it can be difficult for anyone to understand. So please feel free to contact me anytime. I will mention the number in the description box. Okay, after this we have tower infrastructure services, and basically the Airtel has discontinued the operations in tower infrastructure services, but still we have to show this here. We will simply take the growth rate to be 0. Okay, revenue from tower infrastructure services. Let's write it here, infrastructure services. Okay, so what we can do is, let's link this first of all from here. After doing this, let's copy this and the revenue is 0 in fiscal year 2022 because they have discontinued their operations. Okay, so let's take the percentage as 0 only, copy this and paste it till the fiscal year 2027 and the revenue is 0. Okay, it is why we have shown this, if the Airtel have discontinued their operations, because if someone is going through our financial model, he should be aware, like Airtel has discontinued its operations in this particular business segment. That is why the forecasted revenue is 0. Discontinued. Okay. Moving forward, the next thing we have is the revenue from Africa. Okay. Now let's copy this and paste it here. Okay. Revenue from Africa. And now let's link the revenue from here only. Input sheet, link this, copy this till fiscal year 22. Similarly, let's link the customer base, alt H VSF. Okay, and the average revenue per consumer is coming out to be 2084 millions. And let's delete these values first of all and calculate the forecasted values for the Africa. AVERAGE, and let's calculate the average for the customer base, which is coming out to be 9.54%. So let's take the optimistic case to be 11.54%, and let's take the pessimistic case to be 7.54%. And let's copy this and paste it till fiscal year 27. Okay. Moving forward, let's calculate the average for this. The average is coming out to be 6.73. So let's take the optimistic case to be 7.73 and pessimistic case to be 5.73, and let's copy these values till fiscal year 27. Okay, and now we have calculated the forecasted values for the revenue from South Africa as well. Let's write here total revenue. Okay, moving forward to the next thing, that is the revenue from South Asia. Copy this, revenue from South Asia. Let's link this from the input sheet, total revenue from South Asia, drag it till fiscal year 2022. Similarly for the customer base, just link it from the input sheet, alt H VSF, press enter. Okay, and the average revenue per consumer is automatically calculated. After this, let's first of all delete these values. Okay, and calculate the average and the average is coming out to be 6.59. Okay, so let's take this to be 7.59, the optimistic case, and 5.59 to be pessimistic case, and copy these values till the very end. Moving forward, let's calculate the growth rates for the average revenue per consumer, which will come out to be in the negative, that is minus. So let's not take it in minus, let's take it 3 to 1% only. Okay, control plus C, control plus V. Okay, now we have forecasted the revenue from the South Asia as well. Okay, the last thing the last thing is other countries. Okay, so we don't have any customer base for this, so let's use this one. Okay, total revenue from others. Okay, moving forward, let's link this from the input sheet, total revenue from others, Altage VSF. Okay, and let's calculate the average. The average is coming out, it will come out somewhere around 20%, I guess. It is coming out to be 21.99. So let's take this 23.99, and let's take this to be 19.99, and let's copy this till the very end. Okay, and press enter. Now in this way we can calculate the forecasted value from other countries. Okay, now let's perform little bit of formatting. Okay, let's do little bit of formatting. Let's write the units. First of all, we need to give a margin in between just to make it differentiate with the other values. Okay, Alt HBS. Okay, so first of all, let's calculate the total revenue from India, which is basically the revenue from mobile services, and revenue from home services, revenue from digital services, rev revenue from Airtel business, revenue from tower infrastructure services. Okay, copy this and drag it till the fiscal year 27, and let's give the growth rate. Growth rate is coming out to be this much. Okay, moving forward, if we want to calculate the total revenue from operations, which is none other than the sum of total revenue from India. Okay, after this we have total revenue from Africa, let's make it bold. Okay, then we have total revenue from South Asia, then we have total revenue from other countries. Okay, so let's do the sum of this as well. Total revenue from India, total revenue from Africa, total revenue from South Asia, total revenue from other countries. Control plus C and drag it till drag it till fiscal year 27. Okay, so we are done with the revenue assumptions or the revenue forecasting. So let's complete the little bit formatting part. Let's give a border. Alt HBS. Okay, and what we can do is we can also differentiate between the historical and the projected one by simply giving a border. Alt HBLL. Okay, So let's write the units as well. The units is rupees million. Okay, so let's copy this here as well, here as well. The customer base is in numbers. Average revenue per consumer is in millions, rupees millions. Revenue from mobile services in rupees millions. Revenue from average revenue per consumer is also in millions. Let's copy this. Control plus V. Okay. Revenue from digital services as well. Average revenue per consumer. Revenue from Airtel business. Revenue from tower infrastructure services. Total revenue from Africa. Average revenue as well. Total revenue, average revenue, and the total revenue from other countries. And this is percentage. So let's give the percentage here. Growth rate is in percentage. Okay. So after this, we are done. We are just left with the customer base, which is also in million. Okay, which is also in million. Okay, customer base, here, here as well. Where is customer base? Is okay. Customer base for South Asia, that is in millions. Okay, now we are done with this as well. And let's basically take this in the center. Okay, so we are done with the revenue forecasting for this particular company, that is known as Bharti Airtel Limited. And guys, just let me know in the comment section कि आपने कहीं भी इतनी डिटेल्ड रेवेन्यू फोरकास्टिंग देखी है, लाइक किसी ने भी आपको किसी कंपनी का टोटल रेवेन्यू इतना डिटेल्ड में डिवाइड करके फोरकास्ट करके दिखाया है? Or and even using the scenario analysis, like we have used the scenario analysis, that is 1, 2 and 3. Like किसी ने भी करके दिखाया? Please let me know in the comment section. It will basically motivate us to bring like this finance और भी एडवांस मॉडलिंग फाइनेंशियल सीरीज हम लेके आएंगे. करंटली हमारी 3 फाइनेंशियल मॉडलिंग सीरीज चल रही है. This is the first financial modeling in which we are building the financial model of Airtel. In the second financial modeling series, we are solving a case study जो कि jobs में पूछी जाती है. And in the third financial modeling series, we are building a project finance model, which is the most advanced financial model. We are project finance model तो लोग ना लाख लाख रुपए लेते हैं, उसमें भी नहीं सिखाते, to be very honest. And we are teaching this project finance model for free. Okay, so these are the 3 financial modeling series हम अभी currently चला रहे हैं. अगर आपके कोई और भी demands हैं, so please let us know in the comment section. Like after completing these particular financial modeling series, हम और भी series लेके आएंगे. Okay, and if you are really serious about building a career in finance, so guys, we are requesting you to follow these financial modeling series. इनसे भी आप बहुत कुछ सीख जाओगे. And apart from this, if you want any placement services, I am attaching the link in the description box. So आप वहाँ पर भी query form भर के हमसे touch में आ सकते हैं, because we are also providing the placement services to our students as well. Okay, so that's it for this video, है ना? And one more thing I would like to tell you, like मैं अपना WhatsApp community का link भी डाल दूंगा अपना description box में, तो उसको भी आप join कर लेना. Because if we are starting with any financial modeling series, if we are coming with any live webinar, live session, so we are also updating you on that particular thing in that particular WhatsApp community. So I think that's it for this particular video. And if you have any doubts, please feel free to comment in the comment section. I'm also attaching my number in the description box. Please feel free to contact me anytime, and I will be more than happy to clear your doubts. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. See you in the next part of this particular financial modeling series, in which we are going to predict or project the expenses for the Bharti Airtel Limited. Thank you so much for watching this video.